Okay, so Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is again a pretty detailed chapter with multiple items happening. So we'll get through as much as we can. It is dealing with more of a long-term basis, so more of depreciation going on. When we talk about long-term assets, the main three that we're going to see is, of course, plant assets. These are our typical tangible assets. Again, provide a future benefit over multiple periods and are used in operations. So again, these are buildings or land or vehicles, equipment, furniture, etc. Again, it has to be used in operations. This is going to be the main focus on depreciation for this chapter, because that's what it does. The only one that doesn't depreciate, remember, is going to be land. Next, we have another long-lived asset known as natural resources. These, of course, are any resource that we can basically extract from the planet in some capacity. They are going to be for gold, silver, copper, natural gas, oil, all of those. And basically we'll have to estimate how much is in a mine or any other item. And we do a cost allocation called depletion, which is, they are pretty much related to each other. We just give them different names for the activity that they're involved with. And last but not least, good old intangible assets. And these assets are, again, ones that we can't really physical touch. They're mostly contract-based or just there to help the business in a way of giving them patents on copyright claims, trademarks, may even have something called goodwill, franchises, and a little bit of R&D, a lot of research and development. Usually we can expense that out. Again, they're there for mostly competitive advantages. And we allocate the term for them, mostly called amortization. Again, all three of these are related on cost allocation. So, how do we account for these? Well, in order to account for a fixed asset, we have to know the cost. And the cost for any asset, basically even if it's natural resource or intangible, we always follow this. First off, we have to take the purchase price. It's a given. We bought it for this amount. But we also have to take into account of every expense needed to prepare it for its intended use. That's in the normal course of business. So, or normally for its intended use. So, there's actually quite a bit of cost that we have to basically what they call capitalize. Capitalize is just basically adding to the cost of a fixed asset. This is, once it's added to the purchase price, this is known as the acquisition cost. Basically the total cost of the machine to purchase it and to get ready for its use. So, fixed asset. So, if you ever want to know, here's some examples. So these are for the big fixed asset categories that we typically have for most companies. One, you probably have a building. So of course you have the architect fees, engineering fees, insurance, interest on money, sales tax, repairs, reconditioning. So you have this existing because again, you have to get ready for use. Machines, you have sales tax, freight, installing it in the factory, to testing it, to, again, if it's used, they have to recondition it or repair it. Land, remember this, land, again, doesn't depreciate, but it still has extra costs associated. And this, of course, title fees, surveys. If we have to pay back delinquent real estate taxes, usually people forget about that, but remember, you can't take ownership of land until all delinquent taxes are paid. So again, that's part of the cost of getting the land. And of course, removing unwanted building, listing salvage. So that means if you got any money for that unwanted building. But those are different items. And then of course the last one is the good old land improvements. Now again, the difference between land and land improvements is that land is basically the earth. And land improvements is us upgrading it for our intended purposes. So adding trees and shrubs, fencing, lighting, maybe parking lots. Again, all of those really do deteriorate. And eventually, we will have to depreciate them out. And I forgot to get rid of all the red again. Oh well, it works. Because remember, we did go over this and we had a good old laugh of me forgetting to remove all the red. So, for some reason, I just keep forgetting to get rid of it. But, we're just going to go over it the way it goes. So, example here is we got Leonard Company, and when they purchased a delivery truck on January 1st, at a cash price of $22,000. We do have related expenditures. This is sales tax, painting, a license, and a 3-year accident insurance. When you look at these, you have to look at what the expense is. Is it getting ready for that particular asset for use? Okay? Now, purchasing a truck will do that. And of course, trucks will usually have sales tax, so that's a gimme. Well, it's a delivery truck, so we do have to prepare for our use. So, painting and lettering will include, but a license, yeah, I can license my driver, but that doesn't mean that he's stuck driving that particular vehicle. Okay? So, you can drive any vehicle with a license. So that's not part of the asset. No. So, that's an expense to me. That's why it's under expense down here. The other thing is the insurance. Now, this is a short-term, basically multiple, even though it's 3 years, still basically it's not going to last the whole asset. So, insurance policy, and again, insurance policy can affect multiple vehicles, can affect multiple drivers. So since it's not really tied into the driver, it's providing other, basically, activities. And it basically is a prepaid again, it slowly expenses out. This is our prepaid insurance, so always watch out on these insurances. Now, there is a few insurance that we can take. About shipping insurance. Oh yeah, that is the insurance to make sure the asset, but it's specifically tied to the asset, make sure it gets delivered properly from the warehouse to us. That's an insurance we can use. Anything that has a time of more than a year, it's mostly going to fall under prepaid insurance. So just be cautious on those. Now, when we fill out our tabular, I believe, again, there is a homework problem on this, and they do throw you at shipping insurance. Remember this. Just be careful of it. So when we do the tabular, total cash that we actually do use is $25,500. That's paying all these items in the truck itself. Then we have to separate it out. So prepaid is at $1,600. Equipment will be a total. And our expense of $80. So that's license expense. Okay. I am so bad at this. I wish I double checked this again, but oh well. So here's your concept check. Again, it's okay. Check the notes. It can be uploaded, but it's fine. I can say it's a study tool for this chapter since there's so much to it. Again, as long as you can understand, good. So next, we have depreciation. So after we figure out the cost of basically acquiring it, this is now going to show up on the balance sheet. But technically, it's still a cost to us. We still get to expense it, but we expense it while we use the item. So again, it benefits for multiple periods. So we got cost allocation. And this is going to go to the income statement in the form of depreciation expense. On the balance sheet, keeps a brand new account called accumulated depreciation. Now, accumulated depreciation in itself does not change the value of the asset. Value of the asset is what it is. It's usually going to be the cost of it. All it changes is how much are we expensing out per year. So it's an allocation item. Because again, in the fair market, it'd be worth more than what we're saying on the books. It'd be worth less. Just all depends. And since this is a contra asset, it's going to normally show in our tabular as a negative. Okay? So, usually as a negative, that's how it will increase. And it will decrease as a positive number. So be careful of that. Again, it's helping us to compute the book value. So when we look at depreciation in itself, we have three main factors that we look at. One, of course, the cost. So, something that we've already talked about. Next is what is called salvage value or residual value. And this is the estimated value of the asset at the end of its life. Usually we don't say anything about this as accounts, normally going to be management. Management thinks that they can sell it for so much. If it was up to accounts, we already know most likely it's going to be a fat goose egg. But it's up to management, and we're going to get into a little bit of what happens when management changes that. But it is what it is, so we have to keep wary of this term. Next is, of course, useful life, or service life, and this is basically the length of time the asset is going to be used in company operations. So this is either addressed in a time period, so years normally, or it's going to be impacted by units. So either production, batches, miles, some kind of number overall. Now, this can also be very impacted, mostly due to either inadequacy or obsolescence. Obsolescence. Basically being obsolete. So, and that happens. Technology grows rapidly, so if it becomes obsolete, we do quickly reduce this service life and basically remove the product, the asset. Any questions so far? So, nice little graphic. I just like how it goes. But that's just another way to see how it moves throughout the process of the three items. There's our truck. Now, of course, depreciation doesn't really deal with deterioration, but they just like to give you kind of a visual item. So, in this chapter, they are going to affect three very various methods. And this looks like Pac-Man. He's very gloomy because he's been stuck inside for like a month and a half. But anyway, we have basically straight line. Straight line makes up about 83% of companies. I think this stat was done in 2017, 2018. So this is your popular one. This is, if you go out into the accounting world, odds on you're going to be doing straight line. Simple as that. You do have others, like units of activity, which we'll get into, and also declining balance. Okay? Both these three we're going to get into. Declining balance is actually becoming a little bit more popular, and you're going to see why. And then, of course, there's other ways too. Again, all depreciation is pretty much an estimate. Okay? So there's always ways that we can depreciate on the books as long as we put the method in our notes, so investors know exactly what you're doing. Now, tax has its own, which is called makers, and makers usually is not used in the book process, but again, people typically do it because they just want balance in a tax return. That's fine and dandy. But again, that's going to be on the tax accounting side. So if y'all are an accounting major, you're probably going to see that in a tax course. If you do a tax course at Mozart, I think they do. I can't remember right now. But makers is just another accelerated rate. It's actually pretty easy since it deals with pretty much just tables. Let's see how bad I am here. Yeah, I left it all in red. It's fine. So let's talk about this. Alright. The first depreciation method actually comes back to us. I remember earlier when we talked about depreciation in the adjustment chapter, which was either 3 or 4, we talked a little bit about this. And straight line is simple as this. The formula is cost minus salvage value divided by useful life in periods. Usually what we call cost minus salvage value, usually call it depreciable cost or depreciable basis. It's the same thing, that's just a term, but typically just remember cost minus salvage value divided by useful life, and you will be fine when you go in with straight line. Again, this is the most frequently used item, so you will see this, like, ever, forever and ever. So, we're going to take this example. We're going to use a small delivery truck. And this is purchased by Bill's Pizza. So, excellent! Party on, dude. You could have done Bill on his head. Well done, fun. But, again, Bill is the famous one. Ted. Or, which one was Keanu Reeves? Was it Ted or was he Bill? I can't remember now. My mind just went there. He was Ted? Okay, so Ted's the famous one. So this is what happened to Bill. Okay, he bought a pizza truck. Alright, cool. Can't believe I forgot that. I love that movie. Oh well. I'm just going to see people are going to watch this on YouTube and they're going to make comments about it now. It's the only comments I'm going to see on the video. How can you not know that? Oh well. So, we take Bill, he's doing his pizzas, and he bought this truck, and right now this is the information we know of. Cost is going to be $13,000, and they are going to assume at the end of the life, it's going to have about $1,000 still in value. Okay? Its estimated useful life, so in years, is 5. So again, that's what we're going to use for straight line. But be careful, problems like to do this also. They like to give you a useful life in units. This one's giving you miles. So 100,000. Don't use that. Okay? And then straight line, and the problem tells you to use straight line. It's always a time frame. Okay? So, for us, we would take the cost, which is 13,000, minus 1,000, which was salvage value. So, that'd be 12 grand, and divide it by 5. Okay? Once we do this, we figure out depreciation for each year is 2,400. Okay? Or with this graph, you're going to see this. Because it's straight line, we do not change depreciation. It is going to be the same every year unless management comes down, and we're going to talk about that later. But with straight line, basically this is the concept. The expense doesn't change. It's going to be the same every year. You know, straight line, or the truck can basically just drive easy. That's actually a nice graphic. They do really well on that pizza truck. I say that. You would just expect them to put a truck, but they actually went all out and put actual pizza on the truck. Way to go for them. Another way, and this is probably a way to actually show you a little bit better how depreciation goes, is using an amortization schedule. And this is how a schedule will typically look. Again, you can use Excel. And this is a lot of red, so I'm going to go ahead and write it out real quick to show you how it actually works each year. Alright. So, when we use these, and just go with it. First off, we have to take 2017. So that's our first year. So, we're going to look at the depreciable cost. Now remember, depreciable cost is our cost of the asset minus salvage value. So the depreciable cost is $12,000. From here, we're going to multiply it by what is known as the depreciable rate. And the depreciable rate is always going to be 1 divided by useful life. So 1 divided by 5 in this case. If I tell you it's going to be for 13 years, well then 1 divided by 13. So forth and so on. You typically show this as a percentage, but you could put it as decimal. Whichever way helps you out. And this is just another nice tool. So this will calculate depreciation expense. So when we want to figure out the end of the year, accumulated depreciation, this is the easiest part to see with the amortization schedule, will always increase. It's adding on all this depreciation. So it keeps building and building until we reach the max for this asset. So, since it is, typically I would start first year, tell me the same number as depreciation expense. Always going to be that way. Wherever the first is, that's what's going to show up at the end of the year. No problem. Book value. So, book value is going to be the cost of the item. So, we're not using the depreciable cost. We're going to use cost, which of course is the $13,000. And we're going to minus accumulated depreciation. That is typical with book value. Okay? So if I ever give you like, what is the third year book value, you can do that. I'm going to show you a nifty little trick. Okay? This is using the depreciation expense. Okay? And this really does help on amortization schedule. So again, we do have to take the cost in the first year. So cost minus whatever is in depreciation expense for your first year. Okay? We'll come out to book value. When it comes to year 2, okay, so 2018, straight line, none of this changes, okay, still the same, because it's only depreciable cost times the rate equals depreciation expense. But here's the nifty little factor with an amortization schedule. I can now start using these numbers. Okay? First year is a little bit tougher, but second year comes easy. with accumulated depreciation, all I take is whatever depreciation expense is and add it to the prior. So of course 2400 plus 2400 will give me 4,800. Then you can also take this number and subtract it by the prior year book value. If I do that, I come down to 8,200. And this is a pattern that we go. So you can keep going, same thing happens. I add to accumulated depreciation prior year, I subtract from the book value. And that's really how a depreciation schedule will run for straight line. So again, very simplistic in the way it is. Again, you can actually put this in Excel if you wanted to. Again, that's where most of these are, and it's just running the formulas. Okay? You can do it. I mean, overall, this is probably the easiest. Okay? Okay? Any questions over this one? I think I'm pretty much good with straight line. Alright, so jumping it up just a little bit. Okay? Not changing too much, but adding an extra step. It's basically what units of activity is doing. Okay? Units of activity. Biggest differences that run through compared to straight line is instead of using time, like we do here, we're going to start using the actual units. So, we're going to use units of production. This is going to create what is known as a rate. Okay? And since with units of activity, we're going to have different activity each year, we're going to take this rate and multiply it by that activity. So the units produced are usage in the period. So with that, we have to actually know how many miles that this little delivery truck actually ran. So again, we're figuring about 100,000 miles as for its useful life. Well, again, it's going to drive different types of miles depending on the way it goes. So we have 17 drives 15,000, 18, 30,000, 19, 20,000, 20, 20, driving 25, and then finally in 2021, we're driving only 10,000 miles. Seems a little bit typical. You know, normally when it gets closer to the end of the life cycle, going drive considerably less. Okay? Again, nice little graph is basically visualize what's happening with units of activity. It is going to be a jagged mess. Because again, you don't know exactly how many each year. So it's a new calculation every year, then compared to the straight line, which is basically the same calculation. So, again, using your information, cost is 13,000, salvage again 1,000, and estimated useful life of 100K. We're able to figure out basically how much depreciation or how much cost is allocated per mile. So again, take our cost minus salvage value. So again, 12 grand and divide by the number of units. Salvage value again will be given to you. That is coming from management. So it's always given to you in every problem. So salvage value again, y'all actually want to know the definition to it is based on historical cost, management, knowledge, engineers, so forth and so on. So really, it's an estimated value at the end of the life cycle. So, but for y'all, it's going to be given to you in every workout problem you've got. So you don't have to calculate salvage value. Okay. So, once you do the math, again, take your cost of the asset minus the salvage value, and then divide it by 100,000. Now, if you want to put this whole formula in the calculator, make sure you put parentheses around these two. So again, clear this out. So if you put this in the calculator, because I know y'all want to, as a full formula, make sure you always put the cost minus salvage value in parentheses before you do the division. Because if you don't, I put in like this. Well, I typed it. Gotta clear that out. That's the number you want to get. So make sure you put the cost minus salvage value in parentheses if you're going to put the whole formula. Okay? That's just a warning. Yeah. I don't want you to get like a huge number and go, what? So, always parentheses, again, calculators use PEMDAS, which, again, they're going to do the division first, and then the subtraction. So, with parentheses, let's help them do the parentheses first, then divide. Okay? That's just a big warning. Let me blank this out so I can go step by step with y'all again. Alright. So, with units of activity, again, we're going to start with the first year. So 2017. And your workout problems are going to give you the miles, so don't worry about those. Just make sure you take the first year, take the miles that are the activity that happened. And if you're using the amortization schedule, which again shows you a lot easier what's going on, take the number of miles that was done, or the activity that was done in the year, and you're going to times it by the rate that you figured out. So, when we multiply these, this is your depreciation expense. Okay? And again, in the first time frame, first period, first year, accumulated depreciation is always going to match. For book value, you again will have to take depreciation expense, or accumulated depreciation, since they're the same this year, and subtract it from the cost. Okay? So, from the cost, I subtract out 1,800. You come out to 11,200. Okay? And then from here, just like before, next year, 2018, I take the mileage, so 30,000, again, find it up in the table, because that's the activity we did. Well, I have the rate and multiply them to get depreciation expense. Now, since this is year 2, you can just run off of these numbers. It works. Take the depreciation expense, add it to our prior year accumulated depreciation, come up to 5,400, and then we can take this amount and subtract it from our prior book value in the amortization schedule. If you do that, boom, 7,600. Okay? So, this is when using the amortization. I feel like these are a little bit better for y'all. Okay? So, keep going year by year. Take the miles per activity times the rate that we figured out. That's our depreciation. Add it, subtract it. And there we go. Okay? Now, you still need to know the book value formula, which again is up here. Okay? So be wary of the book value formula for multiple choice on the exam. Because of course, you're going to probably see those. So it is cost minus accumulated depreciation. Okay? But when we're doing an amortization schedule, we can use a nifty little trick. Okay? Alright. Any questions over units of activity? So, again, amortization schedules, those are awesome. I would always strongly encourage those on the exam. Okay? The last one is known as declining balance, which is basically one of the few accelerated depreciation methods. When we call it accelerated, always when we take larger amounts of depreciation early in the life of the asset, and then less in later years. Basically, we're getting more bang for our buck at the beginning than at the end. So, with these, there is different types of accelerated. We're going to use what is known as 200% declining balance or double declining. And this is simply 2 times 1 divided by the useful life. So 2 times the depreciable rate. Okay? So just like units of activity, we must calculate the rate first, and then we're able to take the book value at the beginning of the period, and we're going to multiply it by this rate. So, this one's a little bit more tricky, but overall, same steps are going on. So, taking our pizza truck, same information. So cost is $13,000, salvage value is $1,000, estimated useful life is 5 years, and miles is 100K. Now, since this is taking the straight line method, This means it uses, again, time frame and activity. The only one that's going to use activity is units of activity. Okay? So this one is going to say we're going to have 5 years. So this is our useful life. This is what's going to go into our rate. Our 1 divided by 5. Okay? Again, if this was 10 years, then 1 divided by 10, 15, so forth and so on. And all we do is once we figure out this rate, which is 0.2, we times it by 2. We double it. So our depreciable rate is going to be 0.4 or 40%. So when we look at these, this is how on a visual graph, basically going downhill, start out real quick, and it's just slowly handles out. So again, we do have a time frame. We have 5 years. Again, I'm going to basically eliminate this, so it's not confusing. Get rid of this one. Alright. And of course, wipe this out so I can show you how it goes. So you're stuck at a time limit of 5 years on this one. Again, we do have a lifespan. So when we calculate, it's going to be pretty similar to our straight line in a way that the amortization schedule runs. Just a slight bit different since we're using book value and not depreciable cost. So 2017, we're taking book value. Since this is the first time we're depreciating, book value is going to be your cost. Now there is no depreciation done yet. We're starting it off, so we take the cost first year. Then we're going to multiply it by the rate of 40%. Okay. Then when we multiply, we get depreciation expense of 5,200. So there's our item. Again, it's going to mimic pretty much first year. They're always the same. Okay? So again, we had nothing at the beginning. So we start out with now our accumulated depreciation. Book value. Now we can actually take whatever the depreciation expense is and subtract it from the beginning. So this becomes 7,800. Okay? I'm here. Year 2. Wherever the book value is in double declining will become now the beginning number. Okay? So again, 40%. Multiply it out. Again, we can do what we've been doing since this is an amortization schedule. Take this expense, add to your accumulated, come up to 8,320. Take this, minus the book value, comes up to 4,680. Okay? Again, we can do it all over again. And one more time. Now, in year 5, if we make it to this point. This is the end of the road, end of the life. So, when it's this way, we have to end book value on salvage value at the last year. So, with this, since it's the 5th year, depreciation is actually 685. And again, this is mostly because we are on the last year. We have to be at salvage value. It can be more than 1,000. It could have been less. But it has to end at salvage value in the last year. The only other thing that ends up happening with double declining is you have to be able to note that it will not go below salvage value. And not. Salvage value is the limit. So you probably will have problems that will do both on the homework. One will go to the entire lifespan. And in the last year, all we do is take wherever the book value is, minus salvage value, we're done. It may go like 3 years, and it's all of a sudden below salvage value. We're stuck. We take the difference. What's the difference? Okay? So it cannot go below salvage value. Watch out for that. Typically happens, does happen in at least 2301. Okay? Again, I do have the homework videos up for y'all, so it goes step by step with the homework. I think for chapter 7, I think I do every homework problem. So y'all should be able to handle those. Okay. So, first off, any questions regarding double declining? Probably the hardest method, especially the last year. But, as long as you know, last year, it always has to be at salvage value. No matter what, book value has to be that. You're going to be fine. Okay? But any questions related to this one? Okay. If y'all do think of any, you are more than welcome to ask at any time. Okay? I don't mind going back. Okay. There we go. So, every now and then, or basically a lot of times, when we're dealing with depreciation, it will not happen at the beginning of the year. We wish it did, but at times it will not. We'll usually have what is known as a partial year. Okay? So usually what we have to do is figure out how many months did we have that item in use during the year. Okay? So with this, I'll just go ahead and go into the example. We have a machine that's purchased for $10,000 with a 1,000 salvage value and a 5-year useful life. Once again, typically we're going to do straight line on these. It is placed into service on October 1st, 2018, and the accounting period ends on December 31st, 2018. Depreciation for 2018 is going to be calculated. Okay? First thing we have to do is figure out how many months of the year did we have this machine. So how many months did we have it for? How many months of the year did we have it for, Stephen? Not told. So how many months in 18? Okay, so 2018, yeah. So it is going to be 3 months. Good. October 1st. So we start at the first month, first day. So we actually have it for the complete month of October. And we have November and December. So good job. So when we do our formula, we still compute based on annual. So there's our depreciation straight line. But we have to now take into account how many months we actually had it for. So this is always going to be a fraction of the year. So we had for 3 out of 12. Remember, this calculates on an annual basis. So our straight line is actually 1800. And again, multiplied by our fraction. We find out for 2018, we had $450 in depreciation. Now, when we sell it, again, we do the same item. We have to compute how many months did we have the machine for in that year. So, when we sell one, it does mean we probably had it at the beginning, so starting January 1st. So looking at example 2, how many months did we have the machine for in 2023? So just in this year alone. So since we're only looking at year 2023, so, got some ones. So, when we're looking at partial year, remember, it's just for that year alone. So, when we sell within the year, then we start on January. Okay? So start with this. We have January, we had the machine in January of 2023. We had the machine in February. We had it in March. We had it in April. Okay? We had it in May. But then June, we filled it on the first day. So we technically did not have it in June. We didn't have it for a full month in June. So we can only count 5. So be careful of these dates, okay? Again, take each year as itself. So, again, formula is still the same. So 1,000, or not 1,000, 10,000 minus 1,000 divided by 5. There's our 1,800. And again, that's for a full year Since it's partial, we have to times it by our fraction. Now, it's just watch out on the date, okay? And once you get that, it comes a little bit easier, okay? So, times 5, divided by 12. So for 2023, since we sold it during the year, we end up having $750 in depreciation. So, be careful of that. Again, for our month to count, we have to have it for at least 15 days of that month. Okay? So, you're going to mostly simply see a little bit easier with either it's got sold or bought on the 1st or the 31st. But when you get into the next accounting course, 2301, you will deal with half-month conventions. So, don't worry too much about the 15th. That's just something coming along for your preview of 2301. Because those bring back depreciation, let's go and bring it back with half months. Okay? So then you really have to pay attention to the dates. But yeah, half months, we can count a month if we had the asset for more than 15 days of the month. So that's a half month convention. So no worries, just extra information for you. Okay? So again, be careful. Little notes here. Depreciation for 4 years will still be 4 years. So this is only partial, but if this is 2019, we would have had it from January to December, so for a full year. So it would have been the 1800s. Ends up happening, don't have to calculate any different. The only time you have to calculate different is if we buy it or sell it within the year. Again, do not depreciate below salvage value. It's the same calculation on, you're still talking about the 15th day, Randy. All that does is say, if it's a purchase, so for the example, again, extra information, if you purchase it and you purchase it on or before the 15th, and you can't really get to count the month. So if I buy it on October 15th, I had it for basically for about half the month, so most of the month. So in a half month convention, you count the month. I bought it on the 13th. I didn't count it for the month. And now just say this was like September 13th. That would mean I would have 4 months of the year instead of 3. If I actually bought it on like September 20th, well, I did have it in September, but I didn't have it for most of the month. So I cannot count that month. And count September, and it'll be 3 months. Opposite is for selling. If I sell it after the 15th day, that means I had it for most of that month. So I get to count the month in my depreciation. If I sell it before the 15th, I cannot count that month, even though I probably had it up to like the 14th of that month. I sold it. I sold it on July 14th. It would have been 6 months. Or June 14th, it would still be 5 months. But if I sold it on June 20th, I would have 6 months. So basically, it just adds to the complication of the calculation. That way, y'all not going to be doing it. Okay? So it's just extra information. So mostly, you won't see a date different than the 1st or 31st. Okay? Either beginning or ending of the month. So, again, in 2301, you just jump in because, again, that's supposed to add on to the stuff. So, next item, after partial years, be careful of those, is also what happens if management does come and change the estimate. Okay? Again, remember, depreciation is an estimate in itself. So, it will change. It happens. Now, sometimes it may not, if it's a short life, but we're going to go and give you an example of a change in the estimate. So, management does come and they tell us that we're going to change these few items. So we're looking at Bill's Pizza. And again, we're doing it under straight line, so don't worry about doing the other methods right now. So under straight line, we already know depreciation each year is $2,400. Okay? And again, you can go back to the chart for straight line and you can see that cost was $13,000, salvage value was $1,000, and it has a 5-year useful life. That's the original. Okay? So if we took 3 years, so going all the way back up to this chart, so we're looking at year 3. Okay? We already know that the accumulated depreciation is $7,200 and book value should be $5,800. And this is the year that we're going to focus on for this change, for example. So, management says start of year 4. Bill changes the estimate of the useful life from 5 years to 6 years and believes that the salvage value is actually going to be $2,200 rather than $1,000. He's changing 2 items of our original formula. So when we do this, first thing is you cannot go back in time. You cannot recalculate depreciation before. So no going into the DeLorean, going back, no going into the phone booth. This is basically Bill's head. You cannot go back in the past. Right now, you've already depreciated and expensed out the item for 3 years. Okay? So be wary of that. So what we have to do, I'm actually going to further this up so I can show you what's going on. So what we got to do right now is, one, we have to take in effect a new changes. We also, since this is happening in year 4, we can only use the book value at the end of year 3 or the year prior to the change. Okay? Since that's the actual cost, well, basically, the cost of the item on our books and the remaining book value. So that's the part that usually trips up everybody on these changes. You can only use the remaining book value. From here, you take the new salvage value. You don't care about the $1,000 anymore. Now it's 2,200. So same formula, got remaining book value as our cost minus salvage value. So then use salvage value. Now, he did change the life from 5 years to 6. Well, we've already accounted for 3 years of that life. So all we can use now is the remaining years. So we would take whatever the new lifespan is, of 6 years, and subtract out however many years have already passed. For us, it's 3. So 6 minus 3 means we still have to depreciate for 3 more years. So this is where we get the 3 years of useful life. Okay? So, with this, we do our formula, just like we do for straight line, and we figure out that for the next 3 years, our annual depreciation is 1,200. Okay? So, here, again, is basically a copy from the chart up above. Again, this is the 3 years, first 3 years. Now the change happens. So, $120. We're going to start with our depreciable cost. Now remember, depreciable cost is the 5,800 minus the salvage value. Okay? That's still the remaining book value minus salvage. So basically it's the top formula here if you're using the amortization schedule. So that's going to be 3,600. Here's the note right here, down here, doing the formula. Okay? Next, we can figure out the rate. Okay? So it's about 33%. You want to use it. Again, we have a little bit of rounding. That's fine. So, we have 33%. Basically, when you multiply the 2, there's our 1,200. So, again, 3 years, 1,200. So again, we can do the regular math. Or we can use in an amortization schedule. Accumulated depreciation, add. And then take the depreciation, subtract from your book value. Okay. Then 2021, we do the same. Since it's a straight line, the formula does not change. Okay? Straight line again, going to repeat. All it is figure out accumulated depreciation to book value. So again, add, and we're going to subtract. Okay? Then last year, going to calculate, but remember, now this is our new salvage value. So that should be the remaining book value in the last year, or year 6 now. So it does have a change. Okay? That's really what happens when they decide to change the estimate. So big things to worry or to catch yourself on is 1, you take the remaining book value in the year prior to the change. Since this is changing year 4, we always take remaining. Again, we cannot go backwards. And you just follow the changes. So, salvage value, if that changes. If useful life changes, it's always the remaining years. Even if it doesn't change, it's the remaining years. Okay? Now, the last major thing when it comes to value, and this is just will be multiple choice. There is no workout or anything on it. It's known as asset impairment. And this only happens when the fair value, basically how much it's worth in the real world, declines to the point that it is currently below our book value. We may have to write it down. So, don't worry about this one. This is just for your information and probably just a multiple choice of what asset impairment is if you do get one. So it's just writing it down to fair market value. Alright. So, we have another item called repairs. Old-fashioned repairs, and the problem with repairs is typically this is going to have, people would say, we have to look into what the repairs are. And usually we can have it 2 ways. One, if we can expense it out in a year, or 2, we're going to have to capitalize it, or basically include it in our cost. So, cost of the asset. How do we figure this out? Well, simple as this. When we look at the repair, 1, it cannot materially increase the fixed asset life. So, that's one thing to look at. And also, it's not going to really be pretty much used beyond a year or a time period. It typically is very short term, and it's just there to keep the machine going, or the equipment. So think about this. Let's use 18-reelers. Good old trucks there. So, when we look at these big rigs, they're going to travel all over the world. Or not all over the world, but all over the U.S. But during this lifespan, 1, they're probably going to need oil changes. Well, the oil change is going to benefit, but it's not going to extend the life, not going to extend the capabilities. I mean, materially, it's not going to be like, I get an oil change and it's good for, it's going to extend the life of my asset for 5 years, something like that. No. It's just there for regular maintenance. Okay? Same thing with tires. Tires are there to basically be replaced, and usually they're scattered all over the highway. But when it's ordinary repairs, something just to keep the asset running or in good shape, this is an expense. It's regular repairs and maintenance. And it's going to be falling under different accounting names, but mostly repairs. But, let's see this. The engine, now, big component goes out of the truck. Now, if the engine blows, and we decide that we are going to replace the engine. Now, something like that, will that increase the asset's life with the company? Yeah, that's going to increase it tenfold. So it's going to extend it. So that's a major repair. Basically, these major repairs on vehicles or machines are the ones we're going to look at the most when we make this decision. Okay? One, that's going to extend the life. So this is going to increase the value of the asset or the cost. So yeah, that really does work. So we have to capitalize and depreciate. So when that happens, we're going to have to do all this again. So new engine blows, new life, different salvage value, stuff like that. So we would recalculate if we have to capitalize the repair. Now, there's other things that we can capitalize on. Again, if we make the equipment better and more efficient, that will extend the life. Again, this is replacing old components. Any improvements or additions. Again. Now, those will end up affecting a little bit of the machine. Making the machine better, making it more effective for us, and again, getting it ready for its intended use. Then it's got this last little item called extraordinary repairs. Again, that's blown engine, replacement, so forth and so on. So, it's just knowing the difference. Again, probably more multiple choice on this. Let's work out problems. Okay? No definitions and you're going to be fine. Okay? So, now, assets in themselves, you do have an in life. So, once the life is over, we can keep an asset for all we want to. It's not going to change the value. But once you're ready to discard or sell it, we have to account it in a certain way. Okay? And this is basically 4 steps. Okay? Simple enough. The first step is this. If there's still depreciation on to be basically done for the asset, we're going to have to calculate it for that partial year. So here's our partial years coming again. If the asset is already fully depreciated, so we're selling it after its useful life, you don't have to worry about this step. Now, figuring in this course, you're most likely going to have a partial year. But again, you have to calculate this. Step 2 and step 3 and step 4, they're basically all the same entry, but this is how we run that entry. Step 2, we're going to record the removal of the disposed asset. This is going to be a negative to the fixed asset account. And it's going to be removing the related accumulated depreciation. Okay? And you're going to see the example that happens. This is going to be a positive to that account. Okay? So for our tabular, we're going to do a negative to the fixed asset, positive to the accumulated depreciation. Okay? Step 3, watch the cash. Okay? Now, again, most likely we're going to receive cash. Okay? The cash can be paid out depending on the asset, but we're going to pretty much receive it. So there's going to be an increase to our cash. Step 4 is going to be our plug. It's either going to be a gain or loss. And we're going to follow it as so. The tablet. Okay? So, Again, it's all filled out, so just follow along with me. And we're going to actually do a concept check for this one, so that y'all can actually see how it flows. Okay? So, for our example, we're going to have Wright Company. They're going to sell office furniture that costs $60,000 as of January 1st, 2017. So, assuming it's selling on July, so there's our July. It has an accumulated depreciation of $41,000. Okay? Depreciation for the first 6 months is $8,000. They already went ahead and calculated it for you. Mostly, go for it. Hey, nice. And of course, we could have calculated, but we would actually have to figure out useful life and whatnot, which it doesn't give us. So if they don't give us the information we need, most likely they're going to just tell us the depreciation, which is nice. I think this is something that shouldn't even be here. Let's see what's over here. Yeah, that's something that that came from older notes. So if you see that and you unhighlight it, just delete it. Yeah. Old formula. Alright. So when we look in our tablet, this is how it's pieced together. First off, beginning balances. This is 60,000. So 60,000 right there. And then that's the beginning of accumulated depreciation. Remember, that started on January 1st. We sold it on July 1st. This is why we have the 6 months. So again, since we have to accumulate or calculate depreciation up to the point of sale, okay, since this one is still being depreciated, we have to recognize depreciation in that year. So, accumulated depreciation is a negative $8,000. And of course, this is an expense of negative $8,000. In our income statement account, this is affecting the depreciation expense. So, if you want to put this in terms of book value, which would be good, take the cost and equipment minus accumulated depreciation. Notice, now it's $49,000. That's a combination of these two. Previous depreciation plus current, so the year that's sold. So we have book value of $11,000. Okay? That's pretty much good to follow. Reason why is this. You know how much cash you sold it for. So for instance, this sold for $16,000. It is greater than my book value. Means I sold it for a gain. If the cash is less than your book value, you sold it for a loss. Okay? It helps you out if it's going to be a revenue or expense for the traveler. Okay? So, we actually sell it for $16,000. So I'm using our traveler. Cash increased by $16,000. Our equipment is no longer on the books. So since it's no longer, we would subtract it out. It'll go to 0. basically what we're doing for this equipment. Same thing with accumulated depreciation. As the equipment's no longer there, there's nothing to depreciate, so it must also basically evaporate, or basically go away. So, this revenue can be the difference of all this, but it's simple as this. You already know your book value. You already did the math here. Take how much cash and find the difference. Okay? Difference between cash and book value will show us that we had $5,000 of gain. We made $5,000 off selling this asset. This will be known as gain on disposal. Now, there's the formula right there. Now again, what happens when it's sold for less? What's this? Again, that's our cash. Compared to book value is below. This means we didn't sell enough to where it covers book value. So we sold it for a loss. So notice this. Equipment and accumulated depreciation, nothing changes. They still get removed. Cash is $9,000, still in income, so we get money in. But now we focus on expense. Again, negative for expense, and this is a loss. Again, $9,000 from the cash minus the book value will also give that negative $2,000 of a loss. Okay. Again, this is a whole lot easier compared to your 2301. So once you go to the next accounting class, that's when you start taking this and putting it into journal entries and debits and credits. So be warned that we'll get a little bit more, but right now, this is a basic concept going on in the cell. Okay? So, concept check. Again, I don't think I have anything in here. So I'm going to go through this one again because the examples were a little bit short. Move this out. Alright. So this one actually has Radio Core, and they purchased a machine for $105,000 on January 1st, 2019. Straight line depreciation is taken each year for 4 years. Assuming a 7-year life and no salvage value. Okay? The machine is sold on July 1st, 2023, during its 5th year of service. Okay? Record depreciation entries for each year of 2019 through the date of sale on July 1st, 2023. Okay? And then we have to record the sale. And there's 2 options there, either sold probably for more or for less. Okay? So this is going to basically show you the tabular throughout pretty much everything. So again, we must calculate depreciation. So, annual depreciation for 2019. Using straight line formula, we would have $105,000, that was our cost, minus salvage value, which again, there's none and 0, I want to keep the formula the way it is and divide it by its life. So it's going to assume 7 years. Okay? So that's where it is. 7-year life, no salvage value. So basically this asset is depreciating $15,000 per year. And since this started on January 1st, we are fine. So again, for 2019, we are only going to record the depreciation entry, because that's what it says. So, for us, we gotta have this on already. Let's see. We'll have a negative 15,000 here, okay? And table's going to do what it's going to do. Then a negative 15,000 here. And they're going to have their fun here. I'll do that right now. Okay. There we go, a little bit. Anyway, so again, this is going to affect the income statement. This is going to be depreciation expense. Okay? Because this is 2019. Okay? 2020 happens. Oh, there we go. So in 2020, a straight line, is depreciation going to change? No, it's not going to change. Still the same value, because this is straight line. Okay? Straight line, remember, it is the same formula each year. So it's always depreciable cost. So, depreciable cost, this is our formula. Notice that the formula will always be the same. Okay? So it's always depreciable cost. So it's your cost minus salvage value times the rate. The only time it will change is if it's units. As you can see, we have different values that we're going to multiply the rate by. And if it's accelerating. So, straight line doesn't change. So when straight line is the most common. So for 2019, 2020, 21, and 22, depreciation is exactly the same. We're going to basically lower our book value by 15,000 each year. Okay? So again, this is just recording depreciation. This is why I would say definitely do the amortization chart based on what we've done before. This is just a simple basically example to show you calculate. It won't change for 4 years. So this is putting it in the table or doing a journal entry. So this was basically me doing, I'm going to actually copy and paste one of these charts. Wait, take this one. copy. I'm just going to place it right here. So let's start taking one of these charts, our depreciable cost. Do this. Delete. So I'll do that. Go. This is starting in 2019. So move these two rows and we'll start from there. Okay. So starting in 2019, this is how it's looking like. So again, using this chart, I can show you exactly what's going on. So our depreciable cost is $105,000. Basically, again, cost minus salvage value. Since there is no salvage value, it's simple to cost. Now, this is a 7-year rate. So I'm using the amortization. That's straight line rate is just 1 divided by 7. Now, this is a complete weird percentage. So I'm just going round to about 14%. Okay? Again, using the calculator and putting the whole formula in, so it works. This is just showing what's happening with straight line. So in reality, we did the formula, $15,000 a year. Okay? So 15,000 book value, and going lower, so 105 minus 15, so it's 90,000 in itself. Okay? So there we go. Years 2, so 2020. Since it's straight line, the formula will not change. Okay? Since it's only using depreciable cost. I will not do red all across. So still the same formula. So depreciation expense is still $15,000. This is what we're doing up here. Okay? So 2020, we still have $15,000 that we have to expense. Notice this. Since it will increase the cumulative depreciation, that's our journal entry. Okay? Because again, book value is not on the tablet. This is a separate number that we use on the balance sheet. Okay? But for the journal entry, it's just accumulated depreciation and dividends. Not dividends, depreciation expense. So again, this is showing that this has increased by $30,000 on the balance sheet. Here, we expense the $15,000 on for 2020. So technically, if you combine your income statements, yeah, it will show $30,000 also. So remember, income statements basically reset at the end of each year. Okay? You only care about the balance sheet. Again, take this minus 15,000. We're now at 75,000 in book value. Okay? And this also helps because we're selling it. So again, same formula since we had it for the whole year. So basically, 15,000 Now we have a total in our accumulated depreciation of $45K. And we are at $60,000 in book value. Again, if I ever added these two up, that should equal out our cost. 2022. Okay. For this problem, this is the last full year that we had it for, because we end up selling it in the next year. So right now, our accumulated depreciation is $60,000, and book value should be $45,000. I'm doing my math right. Years. Okay, so that's year 4. This is what we've calculated so far. Okay, so July 1st, 2023. This is actually using the amortization schedule. It actually gives a visual. Again, we sold it on July 1st. So with that, how many months did we have the machine in 2023? Remember, since we sold it, we start with January. So just in this year alone, how many months? Yeah. So we had it for 6. So I'm going to use the amortization schedule. Now, this is a little bit different formula. Okay? So we're going to calculate depreciation just a little bit different. Again, we have that 6-month cost. So here's our calculator. We already know in an annual basis it is $15,000. So we don't have to recalculate or reinvent the real. So that's our annual. Now we have to multiply it by our partial year. So we know we had it for 6 months. We're going to divide that by 12 for the year, which gives a half year. And we'll multiply it by the annual depreciation. So this shows that depreciation expense should be $7,500. Again, you can make a note, partial year, you can half it, whatever you need to do to show that's the partial year in this one. This one is helping us figure out these two. So, how much accumulated depreciation should I have if I'm putting in 2023? Again, using this, what do we do with depreciation expense and accumulated depreciation? I want to find this number. Has it been increasing or decreasing throughout the years? Increasing. So I would have added the two numbers. Okay? Be careful of that. Remember, it's accumulating. Accumulating in itself is defined as addition. So, my accumulated depreciation should be $67,500. Okay? Now let's go ahead and figure out book value. Okay? So what's going on between depreciation expense and book value? So what would be the value of that? Notice how book value is decreasing. This is our subtract one. Okay? So, what will be my book value at the basically time of sale, 2023? So, for this, I would take the book value and subtract 7,500. Yeah, remember, book value decreases over time. As to subtract, okay? Cumulative depreciation is increasing over time. So that's your add. So, for 2023, as we're selling it, if I want to use this already provides good information for me. Cost minus accumulated depreciation is book value. That's the true formula. That would be if you didn't use this and you just left with accumulated depreciation. I would take the cost of then. So that would have been taking the cost of the asset, 105. And if I only knew accumulated depreciation, so if I minus 67,500, that's book value also. Okay? What I'm doing is basically using the chart to make it a little bit easier. But if you only know cost and accumulated depreciation, that will get you the same number. Okay? So, I'm using the chart to just help you out on this time problem that you may face on selling an asset with a partial year. Okay? Again, formula in itself, when we record the sale, okay, first thing you have to record is this depreciation. So, I'm just going to put 2023 here. Okay? So in 2023, we do have to record the depreciation of that current year. Okay? So this is the current. This is our 7,500. This is up to the time of sale. Have to record this in your tablet. Now we have to record the sale. Okay? So in 2023, if I cannot fit another column here, that's why I put 2023 here. That's not cash. Okay? We have two scenarios. We have 45,500 and 25,000. If you want to know what a gain or a loss is, it's best to know both value. Okay? So, here, when we compare how much cash we receive to book value, did we sell it for more than book value or less than book value? But the first one is 45,500. You sell it more or less? So, almost there. Okay? So we sold it for $45,500. That's cash coming into us. So someone paid us for this amount. It's worth on our books, $37,500. And so that's the cost of the asset. Is cash greater? So is this number greater than this number? So this again was our cash. Is this a bigger number than 37,500? So we look at it, it's a bigger number, it's greater than, it means we sold it for more than what it's worth. And so we have a gain. Okay? Now the other scenario, again, we have the question, amount cash received. Is it greater than or less than our 37,500? Basically our book value. That's the question. Okay? So we know the answer to this. One is a gain. We sold it for more. For the other one, when you compare the numbers, it's less than. So this means you sold it for a loss. Okay? So when we calculate, we take the difference. So for this one, 45,500 minus 37,500. We sold it for a gain of 8,000. A gain of 8,000. Okay? This one. Not clear. It is. We have 25,000 minus 37,500. We end up losing money. You can see as a loss. So we have a loss of 12,500. Okay? So these are the two scenarios. So how does this fit in the tablet? Okay? Again, I'm just going to take these and figure out here. We're going to redo the accounts. Okay? Oops. Alright. So again, this is our income statement. So from on, because I can add more as I do this note. So, but when we want to do this one, the journal entry is this. Cash came in. So I'm just going to put A here. So you know this is the journal entry below it. So cash came in. So we have a natural increase of 45,500. Now, we have to remove out the equipment. Equipment is the cost. So, equipment is going to be removed. at its cost $105,000. Cumulative depreciation, which is tied to the equipment, is again the total of the prior years, including the $70,500, or if you're using this to help you with it, we already know the total. What's the total of cumulative depreciation in 2023? Well, there it is. We've already computed it. We're using the amortization chart. So, since we're removing it, this is an addition of $6,500. Again, you want to make it 0. Okay? So it's going to be the opposite. Since this is a gain, this is the first scenario. This is going to be treated as revenue. We sold it more than what it's worth. Okay? So, this would be called gain on disposal. So, again, we tease it out. It takes a lot to get to a sale. Yes, especially once it tells you to do multiple years of depreciation. That's why I wanted to do the concept check. Okay? B. So this is the second scenario. This is this scenario right here. Get down the row. Okay? Again, we receive cash. Cash is still increasing, but this time only $25,000. Okay? Equipment. We're still selling off the equipment, so that would still be a negative. Cumulative depreciation, again, is going to be removed, so this is going to be a positive. Again, because it's already natural negative. Now, since we lost money on this one, it does not fall under revenue. It falls under expense. So negative $12,500. Remember, again, expenses are going to naturally increase by a negative. And this is a loss on disposal. Okay? So you have to be careful of each of these scenarios. Again, a workout problem will help you out. Or the practice problems in case this is a workout problem. And in the homework, I do go over this, but honestly, I don't recall one in the homework. But there's bound to be one, so again, it takes a little bit. When it comes later on, you will have to do quite a bit more to it. Okay? So, see what else do we have here? Okay, just ratios. Go ahead and finish this up. So again, time factor. I don't know when my computer just go blue screen. Hope it doesn't. Alright. So, the last part, again, are just natural resources. Again, I already kind of explained this at the beginning. The only thing that really changes between the two is what we call the accounts. Depreciation expense and accumulated depletion. Again, remember this is for minerals in the earth. And for this cost allocation, okay, it runs pretty much exactly like units of activity. So pretty much like this one. That's all it really is. We basically estimate how many minerals in the mine, and then every year, once you figure that out, we estimate the total. We estimate our find the rates, and we do the multiplication. So, again, pretty much know definition-wise what it is. Intangible assets are, again, stuff that we can purchase, and they are reported at the purchase price. Now, with these, they are amortized. So, with these in themselves, and this one you will hit on the homework. Alright, it does end up happening. Okay? But, if you do get to home, again, I go through it step by step. But with amortization, we only amortize the assets that actually have a limited life. Some intangible assets do have indefinite lives. So that means there's nothing that we can do. There's no legal, economic, or other factors to limit that life. So when it is like that, we don't depreciate. So don't worry about those. But when we look at these are exactly like straight lines. Okay? So we have to look at the time frame. The only thing is that they never have a salvage value. So it's always the cost divided by how many years of life it does. For these, they're going to be, for intangible assets themselves, it's the shorter of its useful life or legal life. Most of these problems, again, since this is an intro class, is going to tell you straight up, this is the life. Okay? So, when we look at assume, this is an example, assume that National Labs purchased a patent at a cost of $60,000 on June 30th. So again, a partial year. And this is basically for 6 months. And this one doesn't have us actually calculate. It gives it to us. So yay. So again, for the first year of this patent, it basically is going to record $3,750 in amortization. Now, usually we have accumulated amortization, but for your book, it's going to directly decrease the specific intangible asset for this one. I don't usually see that happening in the real world. Usually it's just the AA account, but for your book, do this. Okay? I think I actually go through it. So, for us, hence, we're going to decrease it by the $3,750 and expense out $3,750 for amortization expense. This is really the only thing you're going to end up doing with these problems. For the types of intangible assets, again, this is just going to be multiple choice. So definitely know these. So again, patents themselves are again exclusive rights granted to manufacture or sell a patent item. Copyrights give exclusive rights, so forth and so on. Again, you can read these through the notes. And then this is our balance sheet as itself. So, this is overall, it's all been done, basically shown in balance sheet form. Okay? So again, we have our current assets. So remember, those are always in order of liquidity. We have our property, plant, and equipment. which land doesn't depreciate, but buildings will. And it's always less accumulated depreciation of that account. So you take your fixed asset minus your accumulated depreciation, and there again is your book value according to the balance sheet. Same thing with equipment, or add them all together. There's our total property, plant, and equipment for fixed assets. Then you have your intangibles. We'll total those up, and then add your current assets plus your property, plant, and equipment plus your intangibles to get your total assets. The last little bit that we have is again ratios. So first one is the asset return on asset, ROA. And basically this is seeing how much income is generated by our assets. Now, good higher ratio means that the company is more profitable based on this. So, the formula for return on assets is net income divided by average total assets. So again, we would have to have two numbers at least here. So for JetBlue, we would take, and this is for 14, the beginning of 2014, add the end, or basically 12/31/14 and 12/31/13. We want to add those together and divide those by 2. Again, get an average. Okay. Then you divide by net income, not net sales. You throw this in there just to mess with you. Okay. Always by net income. So this shows that for every dollar that they spent on basically assets, they're getting about 6.8. So not bad. It's a lot better than 2013. So that means they did increase income, or as you can see, they increased the assets a little bit. And then we can actually compare these to other companies or industries to see who's actually more profitable in the return on assets. Oh, are they doing better on making money for assets that they have purchased? Okay. Then you got your asset turnover. So asset turnover in itself is net sales divided by, again, average total assets. So be careful. Return uses net income. Turnover uses net sales. And this basically indicates how efficiently company uses its assets to generate sales, or how many dollars of sale can they generate. So while this is looking at profit, this is looking at sales, and they make money. So here we have a high ratio. We are very efficient in our sales, or basically our asset turnover. So again, in the formula, find out that's 0.77 times, which again is a little bit greater, but not as good as Southwestern. Okay? They are doing better in asset turnover, so they're generating more sales on their assets. Again, we were better with them in generating profit on our assets, but not actually sales. So if we can generate better on that, JetBlue would be crushing Southwestern. But we already know that's not true. So, profit margin. Okay. Now, this we've done before, So we'll come back to profit margin because it actually helps us in figure out return on assets. Okay? Profit margin in itself, if you recall, was net income divided by net sales. And the book likes to do this, so it is going to revisit this. And so with this, if you take the butterfly effect, if you remember that from math, these two are going to cancel out the net sales, which leaves us with the formula for return on assets. Okay? So basically, it's just an extended formula of ROA. So this allows us to actually focus on certain areas to increase our return. We can increase our profit margin that we generate from each dollar of goods that sell. This can affect, or we can increase the volume of goods that we sell for our asset turnover. Either way can actually work. Okay? Alright. So, that's it of chapter 7. So again, what's going on, we'll leave you with an announcement, is that on Thursday, your exam will open. Okay? So we'll open, so if you want, and you already set aside this time, because this is when we usually have class time, go ahead and take the exam. You already set aside the time. If you don't have the time, remember, you have until Saturday at midnight to complete it. Okay? You again should have 3 attempts at it. So, in case some kind of a technical glitch happens, but make sure that you do have the time. It is set for 2 hours and 20 minutes, just like our class time. So, be careful. The practice problems are on Wiley right now. Practice problems are exactly what you're going to see on the exam. They're just different numbers. So definitely make sure you go through those and understand them. And no, we don't have lecture on Thursday because, again, it's set aside for your exam. So, this class will not have an actual lecture on Thursday. So with that, the other announcement is on the quizzes. So if you came in a little bit later after the announcement, this is what's happening with the quizzes. Due to errors in the system, then the quizzes gave you 2 opportunities already, 2 attempts. They will not let me increase them. So the only thing I can do is basically redo the quizzes. So yeah, next Tuesday we will go over chapter 8. And we have 8 for that whole week. So we'll go over chapter 8 probably on Tuesday, and we'll go over the homework on Thursday. And 5 through 7, yeah, chapters 5 through 7 is the test. So only 3 chapters. So for everything that's gone on, your exam is basically knocked off a chapter each test. So that's just crazy. It's been a crazy semester. But yeah, on the quizzes, test is in Wiley. Okay? So, just like we did the first exam. Okay? So, what's going to end up happening with the quizzes itself, if I have to remake them for y'all to retake them. So, again, that probably is going to be a little bit later on. Then I have to have the time to redo them. Yeah, final test is just over chapters 8 and 9. But so that's probably going to be something for y'all to do on that extra week that we have. So basically the extra week, the quizzes, I would have it all completed, so redone, so you can retake them. If you do a high score on those, then I will actually replace. Okay? But again, if you haven't done the corrections for exam 1, so if you haven't done those, I know some have, but if you feel like you need to redo the corrections, you don't think that you did very well on them, you still have time. I'm going to give you until Sunday at midnight to turn in the corrections over exam 1. Okay? And those were emailed to you. I think I figured out how to fix so way y'all can see what you got wrong for exam 2. We're on C, so we don't have to do the whole email thing. But we'll test that out once y'all are done with exam 2. But make sure you get the corrections in for exam 1 if you're going to do them. Now, Brandy, I know I received yours. I wait until after the second exam to put it in, just in case you're going to send me a revised version, so it doesn't like constantly mess with the grade. So that's why it hasn't shown up in the grade book yet. Okay? Plus y'all got like an extra 10 points anyway. So anyway, okay, so definitely get the corrections done by Sunday at midnight. So remember, if you're going to do them, you have to provide why did you get it wrong, what is the correct answer, and why is it correct. So you have to explain it. Okay? So basically treat me as the student. You're the teacher. Explain to me why that answer should be correct. Okay? So do that for all multiple choice you got wrong, and on the workouts, it can be just an overview. So you don't have to do it for each individual workout thing. Okay? So just an overview. You turn that in, okay, send that to me by email. Okay? And if you want, you can even message me online saying I sent it by email so I can check it to make sure I received it. Okay? But that's it for today. So I will say very much good luck on the exam. I already know y'all guys are going to do well. Again, make sure you're doing the practice problem. Okay? Yeah. The only thing that's not on the practice is the multiple choice. Basically, you still have to do the multiple choice, but it is basically the same workout problems you're going to get. So